Thank you, Rajiv Gupta, and to all those involved in organizing this TEDx event in Kanke, Ranchi, and for the invitation to share my perspective on climate change and the role of climate action to support a sustainable planet. Let me introduce myself. I am Owais Sarmad, and I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary at the United Nations Climate Change Secretariat. And I'm very pleased to send you this message today. Dear friends, dear colleagues, and all those who have joined, we are living in a triple planetary crisis. That is climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss, which is threatening the lives and livelihoods of everyone everywhere. Every fraction of a degree of temperature rise is a matter of life and death to millions, especially the most vulnerable people in the developing world. The climate crisis is here and now, and unfortunately getting worse every day. Despite the current geopolitical challenges, climate change remains the biggest threat to humanity in the long term, as it is a risk multiplier. This is why we need to take climate action now. Climate action means addressing the impacts of human-made climate change and describes the measures we all, including governments, businesses, organizations, individuals, you and me, have to take, which is to reduce the severity of climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and strengthen our resilience, reduce our exposure, and adapt to the effects of climate change, including climate hazards. These crucial steps are outlined in one of our core treaties called the Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015 by 194 countries with near universal participation. The Paris Agreement's central aim is to foster sustainable living for the planet through limiting global warming well below 2 degrees Celsius, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius. In order to reduce the average temperature, it is essential that we cut by half greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and to transition towards a low-carbon development and net zero emissions by 2050. That's a task very challenging. We in the United Nations Secretariat are actively supporting the governments and various stakeholders worldwide to develop climate-responsive policies and implement green business models conducive to a sustainable planet. Now, how do we do this? By supporting the technical and substantive support to the yearly conferences of the parties, COPs, that are held under our patronage. The purpose of the COPs is to foster policy-making, accountability, and implementation of climate plans in a spirit of multilateralism. Last month, as many of you must have seen in the news, the 27th COP, COP27, was organized in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and around 50,000 delegations from governments, business area, civil society, academia, youth attended that conference. COP27 closed with an overall positive package of decisions that reaffirmed the global commitment to promote a sustainable planet. It concluded with a breakthrough agreement to provide loss and damage funding for vulnerable countries hit hard by climate disasters, creating a specific fund for loss and damage. To conclude, let me leave you with few reflections for you to ponder. Protecting our planet requires a rapid systems transformation that can only happen if everyone is on board, working in a spirit of inclusive multilateralism. That means we all, you and I, and everyone takes action. The world must think beyond short-termism. In the medium and long term, all, including each one of us, have the means to shift the world to a more sustainable living activism, changing the consumer behavior, and raising awareness in your spheres of influence. Interconnectedness. Climate change is a risk multiplier, as I already mentioned, but also a development accelerator in many areas in our lives. For a sustainable planet, it is crucial that we address climate change at the scale and pace and as rapidly as we can to ensure that we commit to protect the environment in which we live and enjoy. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.